Uh, Chief Justice Rush, justices, and judges, good afternoon, one and all. Today is another special day, and it marks my fourth appointment to the Court of Appeals, and it marks the 78th appointment to the court at any level. And I don't need to state this in this room for sure, but serving on one of Indiana's courts is of the highest honors, and likewise, that's equaled by the responsibility that it brings with it. And time again, I am just flat out impressed by the deep reservoir of talent that steps forward and seeks to fill out, so to speak, the robe of their predecessor. So thank you, Chief Justice, and for all the members of the Judicial Nominating Commission itself for, again, the very thorough vetting process that you bring to this every single time. I suspect the only thing harder than narrowing it to 3 is to 1. And that's certainly the case for those who follow a legend like Judge Najum. Judge, thank you for your service to our neighbors and to our great state. You, sir, epitomize what it means to be a Sagamore of the Wabash. And you are and will remain the very best among us. We've learned a lot from your service, and ongoing service is what I'm most pleased about. I'm confident that the individual that is going to be following in your footsteps, who will receive the baton that was firmly in your steady grip for so many years, is equally grounded in his home community and in his commitment to our state. And as I was reviewing this, I saw so many similarities about what I suspect are what motivated him and you to seek this line of service in the very first place. And certainly your entire career demonstrated that on a daily basis. So, without further ado, I'm pleased to present the next member of the Indiana Court of Appeals, Judge Peter Foley. Now, as I alluded to, and as I had the opportunity to get better acquainted with Judge Foley, it became abundantly clear, crystal clear, you might say, that he possesses both the intellect and the integrity, and I think the patience and passion for people that this post will require. You certainly bring a lot of stamina to the job, which should come almost second nature to you as a marathon runner, very accomplished. Those traits will come in useful in this new endeavor. And there are so many positive attributes and traits about Judge Foley, but maybe most importantly is what is shared in this room by all, and that is where he holds the Constitution and the rule of law in the highest regard, and that public service itself and the love of the law, quite frankly, are both in your blood, and that's quickly apparent when you spend 5 minutes in conversation with you. After he earned his IU McKinney law degree, he became a third-generation attorney, working in the same Martinsville, Indiana law firm where your grandfather first put out the shingle in 1930, and where your father, Ralph, we know Ralph around this building, he served as a state representative for many years, also practiced there in Martinsville at that very same firm as well. Judge Foley has demonstrated throughout his 25 years of legal practice, including 14 years as the county attorney and then 7 on the Superior Court as judge there in Morgan County, that a few things have remained, I think, constant, and that has been his calm and considerate and collaborative approach to everyone who you are around and who is in front of you. That approach is perhaps why so many of his colleagues speak so highly of him. They say things like, and I quote, "He fosters a positive environment in his court based on teamwork and service." Another said that his qualifications are, quote, "impeccable," and his character is irreproachable, and that he's, quote, "eminently qualified to serve on the state of Indiana's Court of Appeals." That's high praise, again, by your colleagues, and I just couldn't agree more. I've heard, I've paid attention, Madam Chief Justice, I've heard you say on occasion, and remind us, rightly so, that members of the judicial branch see people in their own communities come before them oftentimes when every other measure has been exhausted. Many times when they're down and out, or their lives have been turned inside out, where other avenues have failed. And Judge Foley has been no exception to this experience, and I'll give you a few examples on how he has responded. His, I said earlier, passion for people, and that comes shining through, had helped establish programs for people who are struggling with addiction issues. And you've led them to programs to realize that there's not just hope, but there's also healing out there. In 2017, appointed by the Chief Justice, you were assigned to the Supreme Court's Advisory Task Force to help ensure that public records were accessible for people. And that might not sound like the most interesting or exotic tour of duty, but it is very important that there is equal access to that data. He instituted something else that we're familiar with around here, and that's the Morgan County State of Judiciary presentation on an annual basis. And that has been, as I have heard from many people in Morgan County, a very popular and well-received tutorial on how things are going around home. And he continues to go the extra mile or the extra distance and speaks to classes about our justice system itself, even allows students to do job shadowing of yourself so they become aware of just what a typical or atypical day may look like. These are just a few of the common themes that really come through when you're talking about Judge Foley's past service and really what make you who you are. He serves on the County Community Corrections Advisory Board, the County Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council. He's the past president of the County Bar Association and the Martinsville Chamber of Commerce. He volunteers at his church, his local Habitat for Humanity chapter, and even again, is very involved in the schools there and has served as a mentor. As I mentioned, where, by the way, his wife Jill works in the school corporation there as an occupational therapist. His qualities and his accomplishments are impressive and many, but I'm sure the one that he's maybe most proud of are with us today, Maggie and Anna, his 2 daughters, who are both in college here, rightly so, in the state of Indiana. And they already, I can tell, have bright futures ahead. And I bet that they would agree with me that Dad or Judge Foley will continue to serve our state with distinction for many years to come. Congratulations, Judge, on this new and exciting chapter in your life.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Again, thank you to Governor Holcomb for your confidence in me. I am truly humbled and honored by the appointment. I would like to begin by thanking my wife, Jill, and my daughters, Maggie and Anna. They have provided continual love and support to me. I characterize them as being my rock. Not too long ago, one day I came home with the idea, hey, I think I'm going to run for judge. And they continued to support me through that process. Not too long thereafter, came home with another idea, hey, I think I'm going to put in an application for the Court of Appeals. So throughout those things that may demand more of me, I could always go home and find love and support for whatever those endeavors were and whatever the results were. Chief Justice Rush, thank you for your continual support and encouragement. As the governor mentioned, you appointed me to the task force, the Remote Access Task Force. I've also been appointed to the Strategic Planning Commission for the Judiciary. And in those appointments, you fostered my commitment to leadership within the judiciary, and I thank you for that. I would also like to thank the members of the Morgan County Bar, the legal community of Morgan County, and the local government leadership. All of you have made working in Morgan County a wonderful experience. I have learned from you, benefited from your mentorship, valued your friendship, and share your commitment to our community. To Judge Najam, you leave a legacy of legal scholarship and continued commitment to the improvement of the Court of Appeals. I am honored to follow in that legacy. To my new colleagues, many of you are here today. Those are the judges of the Court of Appeals. I look forward to collaborating with you and becoming a part of the team. The Indiana Court of Appeals has achieved a sterling reputation for the quality of its opinions, the efficiency of its work, and the leadership of its judges. I pledge my commitment to each of you to maintain that reputation and continuously strive for improvement. I want to also acknowledge the other finalists. Judge Kelsey Hanlon, Owen Circuit Court. I've got to know her through judicial work over the last 8 years, and she's our neighboring county in Owen County. And Stacy Uliana, who's a talented and committed attorney as well. I've known Stacy and considered her a friend since law school. I have always thought of myself as the county seat lawyer and then county seat judge. By that, I mean the attorney or the judicial officer who's committed to leadership and service within their community. In other words, I'm one of those folks that had to stay home to find myself, and I'm forever grateful that I did. The only changes now, the county's expanded from 1 to 92, and we're exchanging the courthouse for the State House. I will close with a reference to the preamble from the Indiana Constitution of 1851. It begins with these words: "To the end that justice be established, public order maintained, and liberty perpetuated. We, the people of the state of Indiana, grateful to Almighty God for the free exercise of the right to choose our own form of government, do ordain this Constitution." The first charge contained in that phrase is that justice be established. That charge is to the judiciary in the legal community of Indiana, and it is as true today as it was to the Hoosiers who drafted it 170 years ago. Thank you.
Madam Chief Justice, would you share some remarks, please? Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Judge Foley. And you're just a testament to, if at first you do not succeed, try again. The fact you went after this, and it's a lesson to all of us. If we don't succeed, pick yourself up and try again. And we got to interview Judge Foley several times. And I've watched you in your 7 years on the bench. You're the best of what we have. I've read a lot of your opinions. They're solid, they're principled, but I also have been able to watch what you've done in your community. And I want to thank Danny Lopez and Katie Glick, who are here. And Danny, you're soon going to be the senior member on the JNC, so you're going to need to step up on that. And when I call, it's so important who is on our bench. I make cold calls down in the community. So when I was cold calling people down in Martinsville, and I loved what one of them said, the state cannot have him. Martinsville will not be the same. We will not be the same if we don't have Judge Foley. So you're adored in your community, both for your principled opinions, for your work in the community, but you've done so much more in your 7 years. You have led so many endeavors. You've been on the board of directors, you've been on the strategic planning, which the strategic planning committee is sort of our big thinkers. What is the judiciary going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And he was just a natural at that. So I look forward to you joining the appellate bench. I do feel sorry for Martinsville. I won't be driving down through there. Katie, apologize for us when you can. But I think you have a lot to add. Our Court of Appeals is sterling. I love that word that you used. And when you go around the country and you compare what you folks get done with regard to the outreach, and this is just a spoiler, I did an article that's going to be printed up next month in in the Race Gesti with regard to your appeals on wheels. I've also nominated you for some national awards, and I'm hoping you get one this year. But you're joining an unbelievably smart, hardworking, forward-thinking court, and I think you'll take it on to that next generation. So congratulations, Judge Foley. Thank you, the Foley family, one, for coming, for two of you coming. I think you were the sort of catalyst. You coming to his interview at the JNC, I think, got him up over that. So we welcome you. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
I've got a question for Judge Foley.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The first is, how would you describe your judicial philosophy?
Well, I think by and large, as that term is used to describe what we do, generally that term is most often in maybe the national format for judicial selection. But by and large, an original thought as to what was the common thought and of the language used of that statute or the Constitution primarily, with a textless point of view. You have to be tethered and remain tethered to the text of the document.
I'll also ask, you talked about leadership in the courts. Chief talked about leadership in the courts. Is there an area of the justice system that you're particularly passionate about that you look forward to being on now that you're joining the Court of Appeals?
Well, I don't know if there's a particular area, but I think what I can bring, hopefully, serving on the trial bench and serving in the community, I have a perspective on some of the issues that may be barriers, that may be obstacles, that may be difficulties with normal everyday Hoosiers attaining justice. You know, the courthouse door is the gateway between the average Hoosier and the resolution of that issue, whether it's a criminal issue, whether it's a civil issue. And to understand, hopefully, from representing some of those folks in my prior practice, but also serving on the bench to bring a perspective as to those folks who, you know, that's where the rubber meets the road of justice. You know, it's that friction point. And so hopefully bring a perspective of that.
All right, well, thank you all for joining us on this special day. Obviously, the court that you join has incredible chemistry and caliber, and you are a natural and most welcome addition to it. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Thank you.